we're going to be using Sorare data to have a look back at our most memorable, our top 10 SO5 moments on Sorare. I've got a list right in front of me here. Can barely understand my handwriting, but we're going to go through the most memorable game weeks of, my time on Sorare. And first of all, we're going to go all the way back to game week 135, if I can find it. Okay, here it is. Which was the game week where I submitted my first team on Sorare. This is my rookie league team. It's now called the Casual League. As you can see, I only scored 157 points. Had a bit of a stinker, to be fair, but this was the start of my journey on Sorare. At this point, I really don't think I understood what was going on. I think I just threw 5 players together and just hoped for the best. Clearly, it didn't go well for us. We were 217 points away from a tier 2. But the game week that followed that, game week 136, was the first game week that I did actually submit some rare lineups. I submitted 4 or 3 technically, if you're excluding the rookie league team. But yeah, it's just wild to look at some of the players that I bought when I first joined the platform. I started Sorare with 2 ETH, which at the time was the equivalent to like £1,500. I think ETH was flying around £750 per Ethereum. And yeah, bought a load of players. I really didn't know what was going on. I had no clue really, because a lot of the players that I was seeing on Sorare, like I hadn't seen before. I weren't familiar with the Belgium League. I weren't familiar with hardly any leagues outside of the top 5. European League. So yeah, I found it quite tough really to understand like who I was actually buying at the time. It wasn't like now where you'll check Sorare data straight away, and yeah, I was going in blind a lot of the time. And to be honest, like it was weird. Not many cards were up for sale. I remember this Sandy Walsh. She was like my favorite card for a long time. And let me have a look here. So, okay, yeah, I bought him for £22. And I just remember distinctively, like, because he was an 18-19 card, as in the design, like, there was hardly any on the market. So when I saw it pop up on the market, I was like, hang on a minute, I've never seen one of them before. I'm just going to buy it. And I did, and it turned out to be really good. He actually scored 100 for me on his debut, which is just wild. I did know Dennis Bouanga, to be fair, after my football index days. The rest of these players, I'll be honest, I didn't have a clue. I know this guy was starting for his team in the Belgium League at the time, and he was 41. He was like the cheapest goalie I could ever buy. Let's see how much I paid for him. I think it was like £100 or something. Okay, yeah, I paid £104 for him a day after I joined Sorare on the 20th of January. He was the cheapest goalie I could find, and I just went for him. And then I had a Challenger Europe D4 team, as you can see. Kaminsky was like my most expensive goalie at the time, if I remember rightly. Where is it to? Yeah, £255 I paid for him. Still the goalie of Blackburn now, to be fair. Still doing well. Got me a clean sheet on his debut as well. A lot of these budget options were absolutely smashing it for me, even on their first game weeks. But I did buy one big player, and as you can see on the screen here, Robert Lewandowski. I think I paid £900 from auction. Okay, yeah, £880 at the time. Auction won by Harry Trade. That was on the day that I joined, actually, to be fair. On the 19th. He was my big sign-in. I spent basically half my 2 ETH on him. It was a bit of a big deal for me, to be fair. And yeah, looking back, we'll get into, you know, what I did with him eventually in terms of trading him off and stuff. But yeah, he was like, obviously I knew who Lewandowski was, but, you know, apart from him, like I said, and Dennis Bouanga, and then obviously Lorenzo Pellegrini and Chris Smalling, like I really didn't know hardly any of these players I was buying. I just wanted to get as many teams out as I could. I was so excited. And that's basically how I kicked off my Sorare journey in game week 136. To be fair, I think I did actually win a card in this, 348 points. I'm pretty sure it did win me a card, even though it says no rewards. Memorable game week for me, the first game week that I actually entered rare cards on. We're going to jump to game week 142, where I entered my first super rare, or effectively, this is when I bought my first super rare. I bought an Alexis Sanchez super rare. What did I pay for him? £163. At the time, like, super rares were so hard to even get off the market, never mind like on auction. And Sanchez wasn't playing for Inter at the time. He was coming off the bench now and again, but he wasn't a nailed-on starter, hence why I got him as cheap as I kind of did. And yeah, I just thought I was the absolute dog's bollocks, to be fair, after buying my first super rare. And of course, I wanted him to be Champs Europe, so I could kind of throw him into, you know, a team with Lewandowski, Lorenzo Pellegrini, Kimpembe, as you can see here. Kaminsky obviously wasn't Champs Europe. He was playing for Blackburn in the Championship. So yeah, I couldn't throw that team specifically in Champs Europe, but I just wanted, yeah, a Champs Europe contingency basically, which we'll get into was a huge mistake looking back. But to be fair, I was attracted to the players that I knew, which is just natural for anyone joining the platform. I think it's hard when you don't know the players that you're buying. So yeah, that's why I tried to familiarize myself with players that I knew from Football Index effectively. So yeah, this was a memorable time, my first super rare purchase, and yeah, to enter my first D3 competition felt very memorable. And then in game week 148 was the first time that like one of my teams scored pretty well basically. So All-Star D4, to be fair, this team scored quite well in D3 as well, 344 points. But with a common card, I managed 383 points somehow. Szczesny didn't even have a clean sheet. Chris Smalling 89, Pellegrini as my captain smashed it. Rai Vloet, my Dutch friends absolutely batter me for saying his name wrong. I used to call him Rai Vloet, just because that's how my brain wants to pronounce it. But my Dutch friends seem to let me know that you pronounce it Rai Vloet. So yeah, let me know if I've butchered that again, but that's basically what I've been told. And then Shadera Adu got me 53 points. So yeah, 383 points with a common card. It was kind of crazy, to be fair. Kaminsky actually got a clean sheet as well that game week, so it would have been over a 400. That did win me a prize. I think it was a T3, nothing too memorable. But at this point, I was kind of understanding the matrix a little bit more, and just understanding matchups and stuff. And yeah, it paid dividends. I got myself nearly 400 points with a common card. Okay, game week 151 was basically the start of my under 23 conquest. As you can see here, I managed to get myself an under 23 lineup out, and this was only made possible because of a trade that I did with Lewandowski. So at the time, obviously Lewandowski was banging goals in for Bayern, as he always has been and always was. And yeah, I made a big trade. I traded my Lewandowski and a Chidera Ajuk for 4 cards. At the time, they were all under 23 cards. 3 of them still are, to be fair. The only one that's not is Joel Drommel, with the thinking that I wanted to build an under 23 contingency. At this point on my Sorare journey, I don't own the Diaby, Drommel or Tapsoba anymore, but to be fair, I still do own the Florentino Luis super rare. I don't know why I just got rid of that, but yeah, I still own this Florentino Luis super rare. At the time, I probably thought this was a good trade, clearly, because I did it. I don't know if it really was. I think my wanting to transition to under 23s kind of made me rush into this trade a little bit. Let me know what you think, if this is or was maybe a fair trade at the time. But yeah, it is crazy just to look back and think, you know, if I didn't do that trade, I don't think I would have pivoted into under 23s as heavy as I have done. So I am very thankful for that trade in many ways. And to be fair, it was a pivotal moment in the Sorare journey. We're going to skip all the way to game week 212 to where we first scored over 400 points in a game week, and that was in Challenger D3. I basically had myself a Dynamo Moscow stack with Seydar Azmoun playing for Zenit, and yeah, I scored 433 points. It was crazy. I'd never scored over 400 points for the first God knows how long on Sorare, and I managed to finish 13th. I think this won me a Kofi, the Sporting Charleroi keeper in the Belgium league, and yeah, at the time this was massive. And I think, if I remember rightly, I think Dynamo conceded in like the last minute. So as you can see, the score was 4-1. If they didn't concede, I think I was going to win the division, or I was going to go close. If they didn't concede, I would have gone close to a podium. I think 54 points to get third. Balbuena would have had an extra 10. Shunin would have had 25 plus his super bonus. You know, it would have been a lot closer basically than 433 points, which I was still ecstatic about hitting. But I think I would have got over 460 almost if they didn't concede. But yeah, this was a big moment for me, to be fair, looking back. And this was my Champs Europe D3 team, which, when I mentioned earlier about the mistake of playing Champs Europe, I'd never, ever, ever, and still have never won a Champions Europe reward. So yeah, that was kind of one of the big reasons for me to pivot into under 23s. But yeah, regardless, 433 points was my record at this point. Game week 212. Big moment for me, to be fair. It showed that I was capable of hitting over 400 points. You know, you see some Sorare users and they're hitting over 400 points every week, and it's kind of demoralizing. But just to know that I could hang in there with them for a given game week was a sign that, I was doing something right on Sorare. And then probably the most pivotal moment, or the most memorable, was game week 230, where I won the under 23 Rare Pro division with 440 points this time. I beat my challenger D3 score of 430. Yeah, 440 on the dot. My first podium, my first division win. Van der Voort clean sheet, Sergio Gomez 3 assists, Yair Sharon 2 goals, 1 assist, Vinicius Souza, the beast that was, 112 with his super rare bonus, and Noah Lang, being Noah Lang, got himself red carded, and I still managed to win the division. This win did win me my Cody Gakpo, which I have actually sold now, regrettably. But yeah, this was a massive moment, to actually win a division, and it being the division that I was targeting. At this point I was well into my under 23 transition. For it to come off like this and actually win a division was insane, to be completely honest, and definitely the most memorable moment of the Sorare journey so far. Game week 245 was actually the first game week that I won a Super Rare reward. So prior to this, I'd never won a Super Rare reward, and it actually came in the form of a weekly challenge. I finished 14th, and yeah, I won myself I think it was a tier 3 Super Rare. If we go into my gallery and go SO5 stats, you'll see that this was the guy that I won. He's a 32-year-old midfielder from Austria. So yeah, didn't really help my gallery in any way, shape or form. Yeah, I gave him away as part of a giveaway. To be honest, he wasn't worth that much money. He didn't really fit my strategy at all. So yeah, just a memorable moment, as in, it wasn't the best Super Rare ever to win, but it was a Super Rare. It was the start of me actually winning Super Rares, knowing that, I actually can win a blue card was kind of cool. And then in game week 260, was the first time that I'd podiumed on a Super Rare under 23 division. This was a massive moment for me, to be fair, because I'd made the decision in December after selling my Vinicius Souza Super Rare. I had a bit of ETH in the account, and I really wanted to transition into being able to play under 23s all year round effectively. So, have my European contingency and then have my Asian, South American MLS under 23 contingency. And the start of that was buying Kosei Tani. I bought him for what did I buy him for? 1.2 ETH plus, what was it? 1.35 ETH plus Hiroki Ito. And it turned out to be, one of the best decisions I've kind of made on the platform. It was a big decision. I'd never bought a Super Rare goalkeeper, especially an under 23 Super Rare goalkeeper before that. And yeah, to be fair, it paid off massively. A couple weeks later, I end up finishing 3rd in under 23 Super Rare. This was a crazy time, to be fair. First time ever I'd had a player get a clearance off the line, and I managed to get 2 in the same team. Eric Garcia got himself a clearance off the line, and so did Nico Williams, which was just wild. I'd never had one on their own before that, and I managed to get 2 in one team, which was crazy. Yuito Suzuki got me a 73 with his Super Rare bonus, and Jesus Ferreira was doing Jesus Ferreira things, scoring 2 goals against Colorado Rapids for me, and yeah, managed to finish 3rd, 485 points. This number was just mind-blowing to me, to be completely honest. 440 was my previous best in under 23 Rare Pro. I know this is a division up, so you're going to get bigger scores naturally. There's more Super Rares involved, but 485 was just wild to me. And what was even wilder, that Eric Garcia actually conceded a penalty as well. So he actually lost his clearance off the line decisive effectively. You could say that I would have almost won this division if that weren't the case, if Garcia didn't give away that penalty against Levante, but he did. This was a crazy moment for me. At this point, I was basically only playing under 23s. I had a few older players, as you can see, Amani here, Amani for midweeks. I had a Lucas Anderson, Super Rare, Aaron Ramsey, just a few players outside of, the under 23 contingency. But yeah, just to be able to podium on an under 23 Super Rare division was just crazy to me. The size of some of the galleries that I'm competing against was definitely a big deal for me. And then last but not least, game week 280 saw ourselves win the Super Rare under 23 division. I just showed you me podiuming, coming 3rd. Although there was less of a score required to win it, we did actually win the division. We finished 1st in under 23 Super Rare. Tanny again, clean sheet. George Campbell went crazy against Inter Miami. Frankie Amaya had a really good AA score. Akita got himself a goal, and so did Cho Young-wook. And it meant that we won the under-23 Super Rare division. And for winning that, we ended up getting ourselves a Alan Varela Super Rare, which I still have now. And for finishing third, I actually won a Ryoto Arakai, who's actually been injured all season. I've not been able to use him once. I'm being very patient with him because last season I think he was voted the best young J-League player in the league for Antlers. This season he's basically not played a game. Like I said, he's had a really bad injury. I think he's had a really bad back injury. So yeah, not being able to get any utility out of him at all. But to be able to say that I've actually won an under 23 Rare Pro and an under 23 Super Rare division with the size of my gallery is a big deal, I think. I'm not saying that my gallery is small in any way, but if you take into consideration some of the guys that I'm playing against in under 23 Super Rare, a lot of them have £1 million plus galleries. So yeah, I'm definitely punching above my weight, I think. And just super proud to be able to say I've podiumed twice in under 23 Super Rares and been able to podium once in under 23 Rare Pro. It's just under 23 Rare now that I need to conquer, and then under 23 Limited eventually. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please do leave it a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and if you are completely brand new to Sorare and you want to sign up, there's a link in the description of this video that will get you 1 free limited card once you've purchased 5 from the new card auctions on Sorare. I hope you have a wicked day, guys. Hope you have a wicked game week, and I shall see you guys in the next video.